Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Peeps. I hope everyone's well. I had a really busy weekend. Went to some interesting haunted locations and did an investigation as well. So tonight's guest is Stan Mace. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you very much for having me. This is going to be a really interesting conversation, and I hope I don't scare too many people, but I can imagine your guys are quite used to this very strange world we live in.
Yeah, definitely. Like the page was actually set up because I do a lot of investigating and it's,
Yeah,
a lot of like-minded people sort of follow it. And anybody who's like tuned in, we do have these really bizarre, weird and wonderful conversations, but that is paranormal, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
It's sort of all about stories and whether you believe the storytellers and the evidence presented as well.
Oh yes, and that's the thing. Like with all of what we do, I know there's a certain amount of people that want to validate with certain equipment and in some way kind of quantify and measure this kind of unknown world, but a lot of us experience these kind of things completely like on our own out there, just and it's hard to replicate and share and explain these kind of things, and this is what I've been trying to do for some time now, because I went many years after having a scary experience and I kept it to myself because I was scared of society and the groups that I was with, and that
Oh,
they'd
bless
laugh at me
you.
or say I was evil. And but now, like, yeah, I'm just here sharing it, and with me sharing that, like, anyone's welcome to question what it's about. Is it true? Is it not? But ultimately, I'm just sharing with you information for you to decide ultimately what to do with. So
Oh,
it's
bless
something I
you.
can't present with you like a measure of any sort, really. Then I got this on video. I have this. I have that. I have some evidence. But either way, like, it's our duty to teach each other and share our experiences with each other.
That's right. You see, like when people write on groups that, this happened, I believe them. You know, it's the evidence of an orb, question mark, where you think, well, photography, you can rule that out.
Yeah,
Or like some machines beeping, well, what else is near it? But a story is what a person has witnessed, taken part in, lived, or something like that. And that's the thing, isn't it? And we cannot say that, oh no, you're talking rubbish, because
mm,
so many people have had these weird and wonderful experiences. And they're absolutely
yeah.
fascinating, aren't they?
Absolutely, because I've
I
had people, I mean, to tell me that I must be crazy, I must be making it up. One person thought I was AI. One person thought I was an actor. A lot
Wow.
of people tend to put their religious views on their experiences, and they're completely, it's completely fine if you want to do that. When you project your point of view on something entirely new, you do warp that potential learning. But ultimately, yeah, we shouldn't be afraid to share our unknown world, because I do question now, like, do we really need the word paranormal anymore? Because you split the word, you get parallel, normal, a parallel to what is our defined normality, defined
Yeah,
world.
that's right.
If lots of us are experiencing these things, but maybe aren't sharing them enough, and now we are maybe more so, is it really paranormal? There's someone I spoke to the other day who suggested a change of the name, really, that we should call it super normal, because it's not really a parallel, it's just an additional level beyond our current understanding, but it's still part of
Or is
our
it parallel?
natural world.
Is it like a parallel universe? We are going off
Well,
on a route
yeah.
already, aren't we? You know, and this is the thing, or are they time traveling, or what are we talking to? And that's what I love about it. There's just so much, isn't there, out there, and we just kind of get answers all the time. Well, we're trying to, and then we change it, and I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
exciting. And so I just see the message come on the screen. Hello. So I'm not used to doing live, so I'll try not to get
Oh,
distracted
bless
too
you.
much.
No, it's fine. I just put the messages on just to say hello to people because I
Oh,
don't always want to sort of stop the conversation
oh,
because
of course, of course.
it can, yeah, it can be distracting if I keep saying hello, hello, hello. So yeah. But
I get
so,
distracted easily all the time.
oh no, it's absolutely okay. So where did it start when you realised that there was something different from what was physically around you?
Yeah, when I was a kid, basically, and just as a proviso, before I go into this, really is like a lot of experiences, it's quite scary to talk about these kind of things. And I know you've spoken to many people, and for me to even tell the story, I had to go through kind of psychological kind of treatment ultimately to one try and understand where my PTSD comes from, and it does stem from this event,
Oh wow.
and also just to allow me to be able to kind of comprehend like the vastness of a hard to explain experience. And it really does affect people tremendously, like, and it's something that's worth talking about. So for me to even get this far to tell my story in my book Para-normality, and of course just do these interviews, I've had to relive this experience over and over, so I'm actually seeing it play in real time, living those
Wow.
feelings and emotions, because they have been imprinted on me, unfortunately, for many years. So it's, in a way, it's a pleasure and a displeasure to have the
Oh,
chance
bless
to talk about it
you.
now, to overcome that fear. So just want to say it provides, like, just to say, like, for all experiences out there, this is what we kind of go through, really.
Oh,
Yeah,
bless
so it
you.
started when I was 5, and sorry, my cats are fighting at the moment though, so hopefully you won't
Oh,
actually
bless you.
hear
It's
them, of
fine. I
course.
can't hear them. Mine's
So
snoring at the
they're two
moment.
brothers that absolutely love each other, but they do kind of get on each other's nerves here and there. But
Oh,
so
brilliant.
I'll put
Bless
drama
you.
aside. But technical issue there. Sorry, there we go. So yeah,
That's
so
all
with
right.
my story. So it started when I was about 5 years old, when I was living in Oxford, and at the time I was a relatively normal kid. I had, like, a family. I visit a lot of family all the time. I was very much there mentally, just pretty much an average kid. And this experience completely transformed me into whatever it is that I am now. So I was crossing the road in Oxford. It was like a red light for cars and a green light for pedestrians. So we
Yeah.
started to cross, and my mum was there, and she was holding my hand, and I was just like a step in front of her, like just slowly making it over, because everything seemed to be safe. I can see it even now. There were vehicles parked to the right of me, and this vehicle, I only saw it for a brief moment as it kind of ran towards me. It overtook the vehicles and went straight over the crossing where it was red to tell them to stop, and hit me head on,
Oh
and
my
only just
gosh.
narrowly missed my mother by like millimeters. And yeah, I went all over the place, and
Oh, bless you.
without too much detail. Anyway, yeah. So I was very, very, very badly damaged, as the driver himself tried to flee the scene, and he was apprehended by the public and forced out of his vehicle. Like, they were amazing, doing what they did. And
Wow.
during that time, basically, I was in and out of consciousness. So when I was hit, like, everything went black, and then I could see bits of, yeah, the underneath of the car, unfortunately, and just the scenes around as I eventually ended up on the other side of the road where they were helping me. So the public were amazing. They called an ambulance. They tried to help my mum and, calm her down, and, just taking as many details as they could. And I remember being, like, for the first time ever, in the most immense pain, like, ever. Like,
Oh, I
no kid should
bet.
ever experience that. It's why I'm so lucky with my 2 kids today. Like, I see them living a normal childhood. They didn't have to experience those things. I'm really grateful for that. But the weird thing is, which I have mentioned, apologies, when I got hit by the car just a moment before, I heard in my right ear a woman's voice saying, "You shouldn't be here." And that was the first sign of beginning to contact and connect with something. And
Wow.
so yeah, just going back, I was on the side of the road, and I was rushed to the John Ratcliffe Hospital in Oxford, and had to go through a number of emergency surgeries. And at some point, I'm not exactly sure which surgery, at what part of the surgery, um, previously my legs were broken, completely obliterated.
God.
Yet I was stood in the hallway. It's like I just woke up and all the pain was gone. My legs were working again. And I was stood in a very tangible reality, like just like this one. It was very
Wow.
solid. Like, there's something slightly off to it though. Like, everything was slightly, like, shimmery, like it was made of solid light. So it's like everything had a slight opaqueness to it, if that's the word. And yeah, I instinctively, being a kid of that age, was looking for my mum. So I started to walk down the corridor, and I saw one opening where there's a little kid on the bed, and he had like a little cast on, and I started to memorize his face, like I was trying to remember details to almost find my way back in a way. That's when I began to notice that my senses were extra heightened, like, so almost like I could perceive every molecule of the solids and the liquids and the gases all around me. It's like I could see everything.
Wow.
And as I walked through, I began to realize actually I could see the hospital, like the layout from my distance, which was really like a weird sensation. And I waved to this kid thinking that he could see me, and he didn't respond. And I saw a doctor walk by and I waved and tried to grab his jacket just to get his attention, because of course I was quite small then physically, and no response. And I was just a bit weirded out by that. So I continued, and I saw another girl in a room a bit further along, did the same, waved to her, and no response. And I was beginning to feel more and more lost, and I still treated it as if it was a form of reality. So I decided to continue exploring, and I went through different corridors and past different rooms, and it's almost like I passed down along different levels of the hospital. And yeah, eventually I made my way into another hallway, and at the end of it was some not medical equipment, more like technical equipment, like as if it's like security
Oh,
technology.
the
Like I didn't
cameras,
understand
yeah.
what it was, during the day, but it was just like I'm just explaining like the way I interpret it as a kid. And
Yeah.
basically, I could see like a big opening, and there was like a window, and through that window, I could see a door with another window. I could actually see the room that was beyond, and I kind of like phased through it, or I'm not really sure though, but I managed to make my way into this strange room, and I felt like something in there was pulling me in, like it was like a black hole. Even it was like gravity was pulling me in. And I remember there was lots of black holes openings in the wall to the right of me, and there was medical equipment, like a doctor's coat hung up, and I had this horrible feeling of like something big coming. Like the room perceptively like looked empty, but at the same time it felt full, like there was some entity in it, like almost like a giant was in there, yet it was empty. Like that's the
Wow.
best way I can describe. Like it felt like a paradox, like something was there but it wasn't, and it was like almost like it was time folding in on itself, really, like it was like deleting itself, if that makes sense, and
My
entering
gosh.
some sort of greater beyond, I suppose. But yeah, before I could even think about running away from this horrible feeling that I had being in this room, something spotted me and found me, and it's like I was sucked into this being of sorts and thrust all over the universe. And like time was sped up, and I could see different planets and people and beings, and I don't even know what you'd use to describe them, but it was so fast. I wasn't there long enough to fully comprehend anything, let alone the fact I was a 5-year-old kid only.
My
And
gosh.
and yeah, things kept speeding up faster and faster, and it's like I was getting a big download, really. Like imagine like an overloaded socket. Like if you put too much voltage through the wrong kind of socket, it melts the surroundings. It just explodes basically.
Wow.
And like my little brain couldn't comprehend this information that was flowing in through me. And for a moment, I was catapulted away, and it's like I was flying, and I kind of flew a distance, and I began to recognize a certain place. Like I could see like the horizon of Oxford, like the dreaming spires, as we call it.
Wow.
And I was flying, and I just gradually landed on this walkway. And at the first, it looked like an alleyway, because all I could see was just the platform. And there was like some teenagers there, or some kids there, like a bit older than myself at the time, wearing kind of tracksuits and trainers, and but like one of them that was like leant up against the chain link fence, like turned as if I was there, as if he could see me. And the moment I landed, it's like he just jumped, and I don't know what happened there. Whether like I maybe did interact with reality, was that myself years down the line? I just don't really know. Was this all a hallucination? But either way, as I landed on this thing, I could see further. Like I realized that it was a bridge over a lake, and just behind me were some steps going up further, and there was like a train yard on the other side. And I was looking around thinking, this isn't even the hospital. Like the last place I saw was, approaching the hospital basically.
Yeah.
I thought I was just lost, really. And it's that feeling of like being lost outside of time. It's a really weird feeling, like you're in this liminal place. You don't know who to go to. Like, I didn't know a form of God at the time, and I was taught to be religious then. But the only person I could think of calling to was my mum. So naturally, I started to call out for her again, like, where is she? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know whether this entity heard me, or maybe I pushed myself back. But either way, I was shot at ridiculous speed straight back to the hospital again, where I received more of this download to be shown all these different places. And
Wow.
it was getting even faster and faster as well, and it got to a point where it was like a frequency that is just incomprehensible. And I felt like it's almost like I was burning up, basically, like I say, like the overloaded socket. And it's at that point where I thought, I've had enough, like enough is enough, and I couldn't take it anymore. And I closed my eyes, and then I woke about a couple of days later, maybe a few days later. I'm not sure exactly the time frame. But either way, I came to and was compos mentis, like looking around the room. And to me, like, I thought, hang on a minute, wasn't I alive on the bridge a moment ago? Like, what happened?
My
I
gosh.
immediately assumed it was a dream. Like, just the way my mind worked then was just dream, 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 of course, because that's what I was taught to think about the world. And in a way, psychologically, when you've suffered a trauma, it's better to compartmentalize it and just see it as a dream until you can deal with it at a later date. So I get that too. Also, this could be considered that, you know, the medication I would have been on at the time would have affected the way that I interacted with reality. But ultimately, the sticker with this is it began to align with reality. This so-called dream
Oh,
became a
wow.
real thing. So, do you want me to stop for a moment, or just carry
No,
on?
was it like a premonition then, in a way? Because obviously you got so much data that obviously you can't sort of take all in. And obviously your mind at that time, you wouldn't understand what most of this was, what was happening. Is, the imagery, you wouldn't always know what was going on as a 5-year-old, would you?
No, you wouldn't. And it was like, as I left my body, I began to access those extra cognitive abilities that you have outside of your physical limitations. And part of that, the initial learning that I learned when I did connect with this thing and this entity was like as old as time. It's like I felt like I knew it. Like it was an
Wow.
old, ancient, extremely powerful something, and it knew me extremely well. But at that moment, I also felt like I was meeting it for the first time. It was a weird thing, like because I was maybe meeting it for the first time, and this version of myself, if that makes sense. But this
My
thing was
God.
like a spider web. Really, it was connected to everything, like everywhere. And like the thing I remember it telling me, like one of the first learnings as I began to uncompact it over time, was a specific phrase. There is no me and I. There is only we and us. And it was like it was a realization that we are more connected than we think, which is a profound thing, really, because I was raised. Is it okay to mention religions here? Anyway, I don't want to offend
It is
anybody.
fine. No,
Okay,
everybody's got their own views, and it's great to hear people's
yeah,
perspectives.
no, it's fine. I just want to check anyway because yeah, 'cause I
No,
was
it's
originally
fine.
raised a Catholic, and I was told about heaven and hell, what happens when you pass over. If
Yeah,
you follow a certain book, then you will be granted entrance to the best place, and various
yeah.
things like that. When I was connecting with this thing, I realized actually there's everything. There's so much more beyond these defined characters that we're told to pray to. And there's nothing wrong with praying to these things. It's not like that. I'm saying that, but this realization began to pull apart that the initial kind of learnings. And so yeah, like I say, just maybe the next part of this before I forget is how it connects with reality. So a few weeks later, and like this, a few weeks of like them trying to kind of bind my bones back together because I had like metal sticking through my bones to kind of hold the bone together to allow it to heal. I had like one leg suspended. I had like one leg in cast and like
Oh
more metal in
no,
there.
I'd
I had
broken
to.
an arm, and that was bad enough.
Oh god, yeah. Well,
But to
that in
be
itself is pain. Yeah,
stuck in a bed and
yeah. It
oh
wasn't fun.
no, no
But just imagine
way.
it gets really itchy. I do have to say it gets really itchy.
I got away
But you
with
can't
it.
scratch it.
But yeah. Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
so yeah, a few weeks went by and they had to kind of fix some infections because some of the skin got infected because well, certain skin was broken and such like that, and they were doing everything they could. Like the nurses and the doctors there were amazing, and I do kind of feel like I owe them my life. Really, they're incredible.
Bless you.
But with this, a few weeks later, doing a bit better, and they came to my bed, and I was still called Kieran back then. Anyway, my original name was Kieran. So hey,
Yeah.
Kieran. You've been doing really well the last few weeks. Would you like a change of scenery? And I thought, well, yeah, of course. I didn't know how she would do it because I was still covered in things. I was still attached to things. But this nurse, like, was superwoman. I think, like, I still had my cast on, but I was disconnected from the thing that was hoisting my leg up.
Oh
She put me
bless
in the
you.
wheelchair and yeah, just began to wheel me along. And the moment I entered the first corridor and began to see like this, it's almost like a photo memory was like burnt into my mind of the layout of the whole hospital. began to see
Wow.
it exactly converge with reality. It lined up perfectly. Like, it's almost like you imagine like translucent paper, like being laid over a photo in a way. It's like it began to line up, and I began to realize I've been here before. But what I didn't fully comprehend at that time was, for the first time, I was going down this corridor, and I had no physical memory of being there. I hadn't been there before, so how would I know? And as we began to wheel along, to the right of me, I saw the little boy with his cast on, and I gave him a little
Oh,
wave, and he waved back, and I felt a bit angry at
God.
first. I think, but I waved at you yesterday. Like,
When you
why
mind,
didn't you
yeah, 5
come
years
on? Like,
old, right?
can't
Oh
believe it.
my gosh.
No, it's and then we went further along, and there's the sweet little girl as well. I gave her a wave, and she waved back. I saw the doctor that walked past me, and then as we got to the end of the first corridor, of course, for obvious reasons, it's a pediatric ward anyway, so there'll be lots of kids
Yeah.
everywhere. I told her, "Can we go left down here?" She said, "Yeah, sure." And I said, "Can we go right?" I began to direct her where to go, and I was following the route that I walked outside of my body. At the time, I still assigned it to being a dream. I kept going and going, and eventually we got to a lift somewhere, and I said, can we go and look downstairs?" And she thought, I think I could tell she was a bit confused, but I
Yeah.
think she was more just relieved that I was feeling a bit happier, so she's willing to just go with it and humour me, as they say. Yeah, so we went down the lift a couple of levels and went down a few more corridors and down another lift. And at that point, I do remember her face looking a bit confused, like, "Do we need to go this far? Where are we going?" But I was beginning to myself get more and more creeped out, because I began to realize that this is a real place. And the further I moved along from that position, I began to remember that entity. Okay, if all of this is real, is this thing there? And what happened was, as I got further along, I entered an area, like it was a secure area where like there was a gate and you couldn't go further, like
Right. Okay.
patients and such. And there it was. I could see. I mean, again, this is back in like the 1990s anyway, so security worked differently then. It wasn't as
Yeah.
advanced as it is today. Like, we had all kind of metal clunky things, but yeah, I could see through this window, and she couldn't, of course, take me further. And just further along, I saw an opening, and there it was. There was a room. I could just about see the holes in the wall, the doctor's coat, and I didn't know at the time that that was the morgue.
My
It took me
gosh.
years later, when I researched this anyway, I had to look at photos of the hospital, and I found the morgue room. That's
Wow.
freaky in itself, and that's where I met the entity. So that place was a real place. And at that time, I just started freaking out. I started screaming, shouting. Like, psychologists call this ontological shock, which is a really hard word to say actually, but it's a term to phrase a phenomena like where it's ultimately your reality is being unmade, like in that instant, like everything you knew no longer matters. It's almost invalidated, and you're left with like the void of nothing, and it's the fear of nothing and the unknown that causes the fear. Hence why we have the word paranormal, because it's
Yeah.
our label to put on something we're scared of to know. And yeah, I was freaking out, and the poor nurse, like, obviously wheeled me along and thinking, what on earth, is happening? My assumption is, like, I mean, her interpretation could be, or anyone's interpretation could be, okay, well, you've had a big shock. It only hit you then, like weeks after, when you began to be more compos mentis in your body. Maybe it hit you then, because that can be a form of PTSD. Makes complete sense. But how did I know the whole layout? How did I know how to get all the way there? Which is really spooky. And so yeah, like, I went back and I calmed down a little while. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. And
Oh, this as well. Look,
my
late
father, similar
father had a
experience to me. Was
similar.
just, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope your father had a better, less better ending anyway after that experience. Bless you.
Wow.
And yeah, so at least the positive side of this is, from that experience, like, I mean, this was weeks later, I began to feel the better side of this. Like, I realized that my brain functioned differently. Like, everything was much, much, much faster than it was before. And I actually had to learn, go through a form of speech therapy as well, to learn how to talk
Yeah.
again, to tell the story, because all my life, my poor mouth can't catch up to how my brain wants to output. It just can't do
Wow.
it, because I used to think there was a dysfunction with me, like there was something wrong. Apparently I had no brain damage back then, and apparently I most likely could have had. Apparently they're preparing my mum to not to tell me that. Preparing to tell my mum that I couldn't walk again.
Oh,
And luckily
gosh.
I'm walking now. I mean, I don't know how on earth that happened. Maybe amazing doctors, most likely. But I had this brain after that. I kind of became creative overnight. And through all that pain, being sat in a bed and going through all the different surgeries to keep on correcting and fixing, I realized that I woke up one day and I had all these images in my head that I needed to output. And I said to the nurse, like, can you grab me a pen, paper, anything? And so they grabbed anything they could. And I just started doodling away, like day in, day out. And I realized the more I did it, the less the pain hurt. I
Wow.
refer to it as like a bloodletting of pain. It's like I was almost passing the pain into the paper. And that was my way of surviving.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm an artist today, really, because I'm very much a big believer of art as therapy. It's more than just a beautiful picture. It's a higher function and an access to a higher
Oh,
function. So yeah, so that came as part of it. And yeah, I had this brain that kept thinking and thinking and thinking. And yeah, so eventually I made my way to eventually I progressed to like the end of my time. That was like months later. I was doing a lot better. I was due to kind of get the all clear. And that's where I met something that followed me back from that experience. So this is
okay.
like the part that I find hardest to tell, because I can still see it watching me now, and it's horrible. I did draw it a little while ago, eventually, when I kind of could face it, though. But yeah, anyway, it was either the entity that I met or something that came with it, and I think it is something that it came with at this point, anyway. But I may change that, and you guys may interpret it differently. And you may interpret this as sleep paralysis too, but it's not. Trust me on that one.
I think the
So
fact that the way you saw all this, and there are a lot of phenomenon where people can astral travel, things like that.
oh yeah,
People can
totally.
do this. So
Yeah,
whether it
I did
was,
that unknowingly, really.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
My gosh.
yeah, so I was there kind of late one night, and it was quite a dark time in the ward. I could see the nurse to the nurses' station. I said to I tried to call out to them as well, just to say hello, because I'd always chat to them in the evenings, because sometimes I couldn't sleep because I felt too scared, or like things hurt still. And I remembered that my voice didn't work. I thought, okay, that's weird. And I looked to the end of my bed. It's like my head was forcefully turned to the end of my bed, and there's like a protective bar. And
Yeah.
beyond, I could see the kids still asleep anyway, so it was all dark down there, but I could see them like not noticing what was going on. And yeah, at the end of the bed where the bar protector was, I saw the tip of a head. It was like gnarled, like burnt skin or bark. And
Oh,
I saw these two hands like creep over the bar of the bed, and they were like long, thin fingers, also kind of burnt and textured. And I saw this head just rise above the end of the bed, and there were these two white eyes, like almost
oh,
glowing in the dark, like not fully glowing, but just enough for it to kind of peep out. And it just watched me. It was very white. I had quite bigger eyes than I have, actually, ever so slightly, like, but it was fully like locked in, and it just watched me. And there's nothing I could do. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream, and I was more frightened than I could ever describe, even more than I did when I met the entity, because at least the entity was showing me things. I was more scared because of the lack of being able to comprehend something greater. This thing was just
yeah.
all in, just nasty. And I don't know how long it went on for, because it felt like hours, but most likely was a couple of minutes or so. I just, I'm just assuming here, but eventually I was so scared that I just passed out. I just blacked out, and I woke up the next morning just like shivering, and I couldn't tell the doctors what happened, because at that age, I didn't have the language to explain what I saw. But I remember there's one doctor in particular that had like darker skin, like this beautiful man. Actually, he's one of the men that saved my life, actually. And as he walked by, I jumped, because like he was one of the few people. He unfortunately he cut all of his hair off as well, though, so he looked very similar to that being from a distance, because my eyes were quite blurry. And I used to like jump when I saw him. I
Oh,
began to at that point be remembered of that dream that I had the night before. I must be so uneasy of like a couple of doctors, like, who were kind of tall, like with kind of no hair, basically. Not because it's their fault, anyway. It's just because of that weird thing that I saw. I
wow.
wasn't sure, like, what was that thing? Like, was it there? Like, was it one of them? This is me as a kid trying to comprehend this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, bless them. Like, they still like. Obviously, I knew the doctors as they were, after that time anyway, and they were lovely people. But yeah, luckily that was towards the end of my time there, and I wanted to get out of there. Like, enough's enough now. There's something there, and I wanted out. I don't want to ever see that thing again. And what followed was, ultimately, this thing followed us back to our home, and ultimately harassed
Wow.
us for years later. So this is what I told. Yes, there's a book. I had to confront all of this, and my aim is to educate people that these experiences can happen to ordinary people like myself.
Yeah.
And I hope that, with me putting it into a book and explaining my experiences and what happened before, you can decide for yourself what it means, maybe inspire you to go, okay, I need to take on more observables in the future, and maybe have a bit of more of an open mind to these kind of things happening. So this little bugger basically like harassed me and my family for years, really. Like, I'd see it in my room in the corner at night. It kind of ramped up paranormal activity in our house, where we'd hear whistling, music, would see
Oh
moving
my
objects,
gosh.
smoke. Literally distorted the reality of my room. I know that sounds completely wild as a claim, but but that's on my book as well, where it all culminated in like this thing being so powerful, and it's almost like it was drawing energy from my suffering and my PTSD, my depression that came from it. We had possessions in
Yeah.
the story as well, where this thing would influence how people dealt with me. It's a wild, wild story, and I do hope it kind of teaches people out there, like I say,
Wow.
these things can happen. So yes, called Para-normality, normalizing the paranormal, and which is quite a mouthy one. But basically, I was going to say one part of this as well, like the final kind of kicker to the story is my second experience, which caused me to question the nature of consciousness and the fact we can survive without a body, is years later, and this is when I was still dealing with this entity at home.
Yeah.
My good friend, who I knew for years at that time, like this was when I was about maybe 8 or 9, I think. I was beginning to venture out on my own into Oxford and just have fun and try to be a normal kid. And my friend wanted to go to Hinksey Pools and have a play around. And if anyone knows Oxford really well, the traffic's always been bad, like really
All
bad.
right.
So if you can avoid it, just avoid it, really. So like we said to my friend's mum, like, do you mind if you drive us to the outskirts of Oxford, because he found this new route. And there's this route of paths just outside the city called the locals call it the Devil's Backbone. I think it has some other name for it though, but that's the nickname, because it
Okay.
goes
Yeah.
in and out of the swamp. Basically, it gets flooded, so it goes up and down. Anyway, but it was a great cut through to avoid all the traffic and go straight to the center. And at the time, I didn't know about it; like, it was new to me. So I started to make my way on this journey, and my friend led me along, and we were making really good time. I thought, great, we'll get there early and have a good few hours at the pools, and just it was a beautiful sunny day kind of thing. I was looking forward to so many things. And that's where I encountered the first step of this, really, which was a literal step, I suppose. There was these steps going up to this bridge, and as I got to the top of these steps, I saw the train yard that I saw when I was flying in this out-of-body experience
Wow.
during my near-death experience. That began to align with reality. Like I said, like, it's a picture overlaying reality itself that was
Yeah.
beginning to merge. And I walked along, and I had this uneasy feeling like my gut was being pulled down like gravity, in a similar way that I felt when I met the entity. It's that same feeling of like, it's like something vast beginning to approach you, like something incredibly powerful. And as I got to the end of this bridge, I just saw the lake with the bridge over it, and that was exactly the lake that I saw where I flew, landed, and scared those teenagers.
Oh
And I
my
saw, like, as
gosh.
I approached, I saw every last detail, like the chain link fences, like there were some holes in the chain. It was quite run down, messy graffiti on there, like, but it was exactly as I saw it in this thing. And in my body, I'd visited that for the first time, yet I had prior knowledge of this specific location. Yes, it was in my home city, but I didn't know all the places.
Well, you
That's where I
don't
froze
know.
again. Yes, I kind of had like a panic attack there. My poor old friend was scratching his head, thinking, "What the hell is this kid doing?"
Yeah.
I just eventually I managed to calm down. My friend, bless him, was really patient. Like, he just said, like, "Okay,
Oh,
let's carry
bless.
on. Let's just not talk about this thing." And I couldn't explain to him then, like, what was going on. But it's during that time that I was still going back to church. Like, I used to go to Sunday school. I did my was it communion and
Yeah.
confirmations as well. Like, I was going through
Yeah.
all of this standard, procedure, because in a way that contained belief system felt safer. But at the same
Okay.
time, I had this knowledge of, I saw something beyond that contradicts everything that you're saying as well. So there did
Yeah.
come a point where I had to walk away from it and say, look, I don't hate it. I don't believe it's bad, but I know too much now. And that burden of knowing is something I need to kind of accept, really. So that's like the nutshell of just the beginning part of my story, really, where I began to realize
Wow.
that consciousness survives outside of the body. I do literally believe that now, whether I want to or not, really, because I tried to ignore this experience for many years, and I just wanted to be a normal kid. So I thought, if I just deny everything exists, then it's all okay. But eventually it came knocking on my door years later, where it's like this additional perception that I have that came with this experience began to kind of really make itself known. Like, have this extra processing and this ability to kind of gather this, information as and where it's needed.
Wow.
Yeah, like I'm just hoping that this book over time will educate people, like even for the skeptics out there, like it's okay to be skeptical, it's okay to not believe in these kind of things if you haven't experienced it. Like, I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, why would you believe in something you haven't experienced yet?
That's right.
Until you have something tangible, like that's okay. That's why I have the conversation. Like, I know it's controversial saying it though, and I don't mean to annoy people by saying it though, but there are 3 states that people don't tend to talk about. It's like, if you guys watch Uncanny, like they talk about team skeptic or team believer.
Mm,
It's not that simple, because
it
team
isn't.
skeptic and team believer are the same. They're both different forms of belief. Like, belief is making a decision based on the lack of knowledge. I believe you, I don't believe you, but either way, there's a missing empirical there that you need. And then there's the 3rd state, is experiencer. So the experience has been past the empirical and no longer has the choice of believing or not believing. You just know.
You know,
It kind of sucks sometimes. So yeah, I do think Uncanny needs to update their way of. But I know Uncanny tries to simplify things in a way to make it seem like we're teaming up and all that. But ultimately, let us, our skeptics and non-believers and believers, team up and start educating each other, teaching each other why they feel this way about certain things. Because it's all this silly separation, like we're supposed to fight each other. Let's all get together and share our comparables and let's grow and progress. Because I do believe this whole paranormal word is a misnomer, really, for anything we don't understand. Okay, well, I don't understand what it is, so it must be magic. That's the word they used a long time ago, magic. Okay, man creates fire, that isn't from the gods. Oh, that must be magic. No, it's a cigarette lighter. And then nowadays we don't have magic, we have the paranormal. And it's the label we put on the unknown, and that's what causes fear. And the fear keeps the barriers up. The moment we begin to remove those words and start seeing it as an exciting area to learn about life, the less scary it seems, the more knowledge we acquire and the more we grow as people. We realize that we're all connected in some way or form, by these experiences. So yeah, if the paranormal is, the parallel to a defined normal, who define what normal is? And also, if more people are experiencing the paranormal, is it really a parallel to a defined normal? Isn't it just normal? And that's the thing. So
it's so difficult,
I
isn't
need a
it?
tea now.
I'm not surprised. It's so difficult to get your head around it. Like, I used to, for years, just ignore what was happening. So there's things happen and you think, yeah, okay, whatever. I watch Most Haunted and things happen, stuff like that. And then one day I went to Matlock Pavilion and a lady went into trance and I actually got the images she got. And in my head it says, do you want to do this? I thought, yeah, just a little question in my head. You don't think anything of it. Later on, we did an energy circle. All of a sudden, a child had completely got my body all the way to my head. It's as if my soul was pushed out. And my mind was saying, trying to get my mouth to say, get it out of me. So my brain knew that basically all my body was out of control. With this little girl, we were holding hands. I did the hokey cokey. That's paranormal, just like a little girl did the hokey cokey, holding hands. And I was laughing like crazy. And I didn't know how to stop it. I couldn't, but I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I couldn't, I think I got into more trouble because I was asking people and they just thought I was crazy, and then somebody fell out with me over it because I said, well, is it trance? Is it this? And she says, well, if it's trance, then, oh, you must be a good medium. And, and that was it. And yeah, people are really funny towards me. And
that's amazing. But doesn't that say something about what consciousness is? Like, because if you're beaming in another consciousness into you, does that not mean that you're a consciousness being beamed in? If we can all be possessed, so to speak, like, is consciousness no longer localized?
That's the best answer I've got. The fact somebody, Ben Winfield, is the only one, and he said it's like a partial possession. And I was just out of control of everything. But my brain was actually me.
Yeah.
But nothing else
took a back seat.
Yeah. It was like I'd gone, but my thinking and my thoughts were me, but everything else wasn't. So it's not like trance where it's different. And it is. I haven't spoken to anybody who's sort of experienced that before, and for years I wouldn't mention it. But for like half a year, I was trying to get an understanding of it, and it drove me mad. So
I should
how
put you in
have you
touch with
coped with
a
it?
friend of mine. Yeah, she's done it a few times, like the whole trance thing, and she's channeled certain things. She's on one of my episodes on. Yes, I have a podcast called Paranormal Perspectives. I think she was on the Big Small Mediums episodes where she talked about being possessed by certain things, but the one in particular, she was possessed by I think it was a dog at the time.
Oh
And she says,
wow!
like, it sounds funny though, but she says basically, like, my experience of being possessed by an animal is experiencing its unlimited love. And it's like, it was such a
Oh,
wonderful experience. Like, I began to see, like, the owner in a way, it was so much love. This
oh,
animal absolutely adored its owner
beautiful.
and wanted to say something. And at the time, I thought, well, I've never experienced this before. Like, as in, I've never been possessed by a dog. So I obviously I don't have any comparables there, but I haven't
Yeah,
experienced it though. But I saw that as an opportunity to learn from, really. So ultimately, they were all different forms of consciousness operating within a temporary vessel. And
yeah.
that's what it just told me. I've seen somebody I knew a few years ago. He's able to channel also things. He supposed that he was taken on by the spirit of Isis, the Egyptian god
Wow.
of all things. And I assigned that originally to, okay, well, Egyptian gods were almost a made thing. It's another deity made to
Yeah.
keep a population constrained and under control and limited, ultimately, and not understanding their actual power. Little did I know, Isis was a person at some point that had ascended and had become a higher being, similar to the entity that I met in the hospital. So yeah, when he channeled this thing, I was there in the room and I didn't know what to expect. I went in there like completely neutral, like I had no idea. And what days in Oxford now? Oxford
Oh,
Oratory. I don't think I've been there before, but I'd love to hear your experience. Yeah, he went quiet for a second, and I noticed the first thing was the room like dropped in temperature, and like I began to see my
wow.
breath. And this was summer, by the way. I should have said this was like daytime in the
Yeah.
summer.
Okay.
And like the room dropped, and I began to see my breath, and I thought that's a bit strange. And
Mm-hmm.
then he started to talk in this strange language. It's like his vocal signature was completely different. It was like really quite guttural, and it was high pitched at the same time, which sounds a bit weird. It was like reaching down deep below and then kind of going higher at certain points, like jumping from one to another, which is yeah.
Wow.
Unlike him, he's quite well, he's a bit of a squeaky kid. He was back in the day, I
Mm.
suppose. But anyway, but his range wasn't his normal self, and he started to talk in a language which at first I didn't understand because it sounded like Egyptian, like you think a stereotypical Egyptian, like the way we kind of hear it in modern day, but it sounded different. And I wonder if it was it a form of Aramaic? I kind of wonder though, but I got a kind of question because I checked out different lingual things a little while after to see if I can match what I heard.
Oh wow.
But anyway, as it began to talk, it kind of asked me like, "What do you want from me?" Ultimately, I don't have much time. It's like it was almost like it was in a bit of a rush, and I asked it to identify itself, and it identified itself as ISIS. And I think I simply asked it like, "Do you have a message for us? Like, what do you think we should know?" And as it talked, I didn't understand what it was saying. It was like gobbledygook to me. And then at some point, I began to realize actually began to understand some of the words it was saying.
My
But it's
gosh.
one of these, and this is going to really irritate people as well because I say that I understood, but I have no memory of what it said to me. Because at the end of that session, like I was like talking to it for a good 20 or so minutes, asking it a number of questions that I felt compelled to ask. At the end of the session, I remembered it happening, but I don't remember the whole conversation. Like it was blanked out. It was almost like it's a blocked out CIA file kind of thing. Like like they
Wow.
black out certain type of. I think I know how annoying that sounds anyway, because people think, oh yeah, you could be making that up, and I completely get that. But it was the most weirdest experiences, and it annoys me that I feel like I was locked out of knowing something there, and I didn't expect to meet
Ooh.
a god of some sort or goddess, and there it was. And I'm still open to the idea of it being. Could it be a shared hallucination? Could we want that to happen? Shared delusion of sorts. But ultimately, I went in there thinking it's probably not going to work. I don't know much about this, so I'm going to try and just approach this neutrally and just observe, and that's it. And little did I know I took part in it. So yeah, that's this was years after my paranormal experience where I began to experiment and go, okay, well, I went through a few years of ignoring all these things that could happen. And I began to go, actually, look, I need to start embracing this now and look for answers, because it's still happening now. At the time, my house was still haunted, same things were still happening. So yeah, I mean, did I meet ISIS? Did I meet an entity pretending to be ISIS? Or was it simply this person's subconscious speaking through him? All I know is my gut, that when it felt that moment, it felt right, it felt real. And I know that's not evidence, but that felt real. It's in a way, like when I've spoken to people about how do you know when the paranormal is the paranormal, and I say to people, like, it's like falling in love in a way. It's when you know. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't, there's no defined parameters. There's no, okay, go step 1, 2, 3, 4 into 10, and then it's defined, those parameters are done. It's just, when you know, and it's evidence that you can't pass from one person to another. It's simply
that's
experience.
It's simply
that's what I do for the paranormal now. I'm just all about learning from people and sharing those experiences, and I just want to enlighten people to say, look, hey, it's not scary. Even so, like, I've got to show you my little duck. This is really exciting.
Yes.
So this is cheap. It's cheese. So on my this is my book anyway. So on my cover, I have a little duck with my original name on it, Kieran. This is the actual duck from the book, which is, it might be famous one day, it might not be. Who knows? But I don't care. But basically, this little duck with my name on it. Is it going to focus?
Yes.
Anyway, it's not going to focus on it, but anyway, it's there. But
see it, yeah.
This is my little proof of surviving a horrendous experience, because at the end of my time in hospital, they gave me this little badge to commemorate my time there and say, like, this is the start of your next life now. And actually, to be fair, I asked for a shark, and they didn't listen to me. They didn't hear me properly, so they gave me a duck. And I felt really annoyed. I thought, come on, sharks are cool. Like, what do I want a duck for?
Duck.
But but once I saw my name, I think my mum wrote the name on it in the end, and that's when I began to realize it's over now. Like, it's almost like I began to accept that I saw something that didn't make sense, but it's okay. I'm actually still alive, regardless of all the pain that I was going through, and I was going to go through after. Like, I'm alive now. And this thing I've kept with me through all the hauntings, where I have, like, the entity, the horrible entity in my house. Like, I was holding that in the night when I was so scared it wouldn't go away, and like, there's a story I shared on my channel where the spirit of my loved cat Puss, when she passed over that night, she actually came back to me one evening, and this was in my hand that night. I clenched onto this as well. Whenever the things got really intense in the house, this thing was with me.
Like comfort.
So yeah, I keep this with me today to say, like, I survived that. And also, this is evidence, like, it's something to touch and feel, like a tangible piece that was through, like, history, really, like those crazy things that happened that I could never fully explain to people. It happened, then this thing lived through. This is my link to the past, I suppose. But yeah, sweet. Also, where we come from in Oxford, we don't say it as much now, but we always used to say, "Good morning, my duck."
We used
my duck back in the old language.
Duck. We say.
You used to do "Ayot, my duck."
Well, I don't, but yeah.
In Yorkshire, they still do it though. But yeah, in parts of Oxford, we used to do it too. So we used to always just say "my duck," and this reminds me of home too. So yeah.
Oh, bless you.
So yeah, like, it's the paranormal scary though, but we're better for talking about it and facing it. And even so now, like, I'm not scared of it, because I went to Oxford County Hall and Prison at the weekend. Like, they did like a one-off opening of it, and it was awesome. Like, Barry Guy was there, and it's the second time that, ironically, nice guy actually. There's been some things in the media about him questioning his validity and such from people like armchair skeptics.
No, I can't be bothered with that, to be fair.
They're always looking for negative. I mean, it's great being a skeptic. I mean, you need a safe and fair measure of these events. Like, there are some people out there who exaggerate claims, who completely falsify things to fool people into spending money and things like that, and it's not right. But at least I've seen with Barry, like, I went in there, I watched him do his work. We were down there in the tunnels. Like, he had like an Alice box. We had those little cat balls. We had EMF readers, and what was the other thing called? I forget what it's called. But there's a device which allowed them to communicate live. It kind of it back scanned frequencies, and
spirit box.
Spirit box. That's it. Yeah, so it's spirit box.
He's got his app as well. My friend actually used his app the other night.
Is that any good? How does it work?
Yeah, it actually worked out quite well.
Oh,
so it's
I'm interested to give it a try myself, because I use my own equipment, like my sensors that I was gifted. Like, I use that to try and pick up things in location.
But they're not working much at the moment. But yeah, I don't
know. Keep us up with pacing. I know you're one of me anyway, I can tell. But yeah, we're there just observing it. It's great that he was using tangible equipment to debunk certain things that were happening live. And I was actually watched
Yeah.
his working process live, because he was going through, when we experienced certain things, we stopped for a second and did a breakdown and observed like data around that. Basically, like we tried to repeat certain things to see if we could debunk it. About 80% of the things we witnessed were debunked, and about 20% of them were unexplained. So we had, the unexplained aspects of it. We had a voice come through a few times. We had a voice come in conversation with something. It was responding word for word to the questions we had asked. We had knockings and footsteps, shadows. And weirdest thing that happened to me was I was sat in one of the cells late. I think it's toward the later end of that investigation. And there's a few people sat in front of me. I think 2 people stood to the right of me, and there was like a gap between me and the doorway. And I felt something like lift my hair, like this bit of hair here, just lift it up like that, and then put a finger there and just do that.
Oh, wow.
And it was really like, it was a bit creepy, but
yeah, it's great, isn't it? To get the experience.
It's kind of exhilarating in a way. But yeah, we all were sharing these things as they were happening. Obviously, they couldn't validate it because obviously they can't feel what I feel in that regards. But the amazing thing is, I was in this place. I didn't have any fear. Like, it was a bit spooky at that moment, though. But I was actually in an underground tunnel, and it was pitch black at the end. I thought at one point, shouldn't I feel really like... I did feel scared a little bit, though, but that subsided quite quickly. But I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And I realized that I've spent so many times, I suppose, so much time over the last few months talking about the paranormal through my podcast and having to do these interviews about this story. I began to realize, actually, the more I talk about it, the less scary it seems, and then the easier it becomes to be more open to learn about it, I suppose.
Oh, bless you.
That's the thing. So in a way, I feel like I've got my power back. Like, the whole spooky BS is all based on people telling us to be scared of these things, because you're not allowed to know more. You have to sit within the defined bounds and sit there, and you're not allowed to go beyond, because you're scared. Imagine bounding over those boundaries and looking at the vast valleys beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, people have done it all throughout history. It's like, even there were ways where people in history have rebelled in some way or form and challenged the perception of reality. Like I mentioned in my book about Galileo Galilei, about he presented the idea that the Earth isn't the center of this solar system, the sun is. And with their egotistical minds, they think, no, we must be number ones. We must be at the center of the universe, because this is the world that we have defined for you. And he was treated as a heretic, as seen as heresy. How dare you? And he was treated horribly until eventually we then proved it. I mean, it's kind of obvious now, but so many people out there in the world right now are sat in their barriers. Imagine if they just took one leap and just observed something more, even if they didn't believe in it. If they just simply observed things that they don't understand, put themselves in situations where they can maybe learn a bit more.
Yeah.
How much would they grow as a person? Like, would they lose that fear? Because fear is it's the fear of the void. It's not knowing what's out there. And it's like you need to be comfortable with simply saying, I don't know, but I'm just here to learn and observe. And that's where you get your power back. So that was my kind of big learning through those experiences, actually, is just simply, it's the acquisition of knowledge brings power.
Yeah, because to say, like, if people are scared, then they do get a lot sort of more happen around them, because it goes off their energy,
It feeds,
and it just makes it worse, doesn't it? And I guess as a child in the house, like, how were your parents during this? How did they deal with this?
Well, my parents divorced when I was 7. Okay. So I think that when we moved to the property, I only had both of them living in the house for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time, like, I lived in there for over 10 years, like more than that. I think that it was just me, my mum, and my sister. So I do kind of wonder, okay, well, what about emotions, basically? So heightened emotions during a divorce, like, could that play into it? I was severely bullied at school. I had this extra processor in my head, and kids just didn't like it. It made them feel uneasy because I spoke very quickly. I had information out of nowhere. I didn't know what to do with it, really. All I wanted to do as a little boy was to just fit in. I say, like, could somebody just give me one kind word and stop treating me like I'm some sort of monster, freak, or unwanted creature? So there obviously a lot of high emotions going through there, basically. And over time, the school began to realize, actually, I was a gifted kid, and they should have really invested in me more, but they didn't, because they were stupid, quite frankly. But anyway, it's about being open and understanding people. There are so many different forms of human. we seem to only subscribe to one particular defined ideal, and there's like a whole rainbow of different variants. It really
Definitely.
frustrates me when people seem to treat new variants with disgust. Just learn, ask questions.
Yeah,
It's not
people
so
are
bad, is
sort
it?
of
Like,
getting to be more aware, aren't they, now? That
oh,
people
so
are
much more.
different, and they've got different skill set,
Absolutely. Yeah, more people are
and
waking up to this whole spiritual world as well. There seems to be a big wave of people waking up, and hence why there's all these channels opening up nowadays where like everyday people like myself and you are just out there learning, experiencing, like we're just
learning,
in that
yeah.
world. But yeah, my mum, yeah, during this time in the house, we had a certain activity which me and my sister witnessed together. Like there was whistling in the house, smoke, and the music side of things. Yeah, it's really weird. I had like it sounded like an old fashioned like vinyl player playing, and I could hear people laughing and cheering and
Oh,
boots
wow.
stomping. And it was actually coming from the center of my bedroom, which is so weird. I did check the vents nearby to see if sound could be traveled from next door, or vibrations, or could it be a radio somewhere. But it happened every night, roughly about 3 o'clock in the morning, for most nights in the week. Sometimes would have 1 or 2 nights where it would be completely silent, but my sister would hear it sometimes, and the whistling. And my mum did hear the whistling a couple of times, but the rest of the time, like, she didn't really witness as much. And I don't know why, because like, is she not open to it? Was she just blocked off? And she was
Yeah,
fully Catholic at the time, so was she viewing it with that lens
potentially.
of like just ignoring it and saying, "Okay, no, I'll keep to my lane. That's fine." But yeah, when things ramped up, I did say to her, I saw the man in my room, because I'd have night terrors sometimes because of that experience. That's the response you get.
Yeah, I'm not
I'd wake up and
surprised.
the man I saw at the end of my bed, or the creature, was there in the corner of my room again, just watching. It's like it
Ugh.
was locked in, just watching. And it was horrible because I used to just refer to it as man. I never described it to my mum, because with that being said, she was like a single mum. So she was like super mum, and she was like working 3 or 4 jobs, cleaning different houses. Like we all were just
Bless
really
you.
poor. She was doing everything she could to support me and my sister, and she's got this poor kid that's traumatized. Luckily, my sister was relatively normal. Well, you could question that really. Sorry, Ali.
Oh, bless you.
She's not watching. I can get away with it. It's okay.
Oh,
But yeah, with that being said, yeah, like we're just trying to keep things together, and I just didn't want to share too much of this that was going on with my mum. So again, you could say emotions could play into it and amplify these kind of things, or change the way that you perceive these events. And the weirdest thing is, like towards the end of my property, I mean, I haven't told you the whole story anyway. Like this, there's so much that happens in this. I'm just giving
yeah,
like
well,
brief
of
little
course
glimpses
there
though.
is, yeah.
But towards the end of this, there
Yeah.
was a big. Well, I suppose the end of this first stage was there was this big fight with the entity that had been harassing me for years. So keep in mind, it's affected the way that people dealt with me. I'd encountered like teachers or strangers who, in conversation with me, would suddenly get immediately enraged. Like, I'm annoying, I get it, but it's not that bad. Like, it's a
Oh.
natural where I always recognize it when it was coming. It's like when the eyes begin to lose their gloss. I had a certain look and a feeling like it's almost like they began to start ranting though, but it was like a very quick and rapid escalation where, like, I remember once in particular, like, I talked to my math teacher, I think asking him for help with one of my sons, and his face just went dead. And I said, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" I thought I was in trouble then. I thought I said something wrong or something rude, or I don't know, whatever it might be. And he just stood up, like, I think he flipped the, or he pushed over his chair, like kind of kicked over his chair and
Oh
flipped a
my God.
table. I started ranting and shouting at me. I don't know what it was that he was saying, but I remember him being so enraged. Like I could see like the veins in his head like pulsing. Like it was like something really touched him, like,
Ooh.
Like angrily. And then
I
it
wonder
immediately
if it got too
de-escalated.
close to him because,
Sorry?
you can get overshadowed. So whatever the entity is, it probably sort
I
of
wonder if it
got
was.
too close to him.
Maybe, like, I did think for a few years, like, during that time, I thought I was just a bad kid. Like, I was trying so hard to be as polite as
Oh,
possible, so
bless
nobody would
you.
harass me. I was being bullied all the time. All I wanted was for one teacher, just one teacher to stand up for me, and they didn't anyway. Yeah, like those escalations, I thought it was because of my bad behavior, and I just
Oh,
always had the
that's
feeling after
horrible
something's
for
not right, but
you.
it kept happening and happening. Like not all the time, but every now and again there'll be these explosions from a teacher, could be from like a member of public randomly like ranting, going like crazy almost. The thing is, they immediately de-escalate, and you'd see them like embarrassed in a way, like what just happened, and they just walk off. Often they'd never say
Yeah.
sorry. Like they're just, and I never will forget that. Like it's one of the weirdest things. But yeah, like I say, towards the end of this time, like I met somebody, a really good friend of mine, Penny, who's on one of my Paranormal Perspectives episodes. Actually, she's an amazing
Right.
medium. And back then, I didn't know what a medium was. I was actually taught a version of mediumship where they were evil, they were fake, they were frauds.
Of course, yeah, because that's what's been said through sort of history, isn't it?
Of
And
course. Have
like,
you ever
you
noticed how they
know,
use specifically the same phrase, charlatans?
oh
Have you ever noticed
yeah,
copy and paste? They all say the same. Why is that? They all say specifically the same phrase. You should say. You
hmm,
could say frauds. You could say different variants of that. Why do they all say the same phrase? This is what I find is really interesting.
exactly. You
Like,
know, it's like everybody's got opinions about the Warrens. They didn't
yeah,
know them. Oh,
yeah,
but
they say the
Nova,
same
this, that,
phrase.
and everything. They
I
don't
know.
know them. They don't know what they did. And they did
Yeah,
something in a time nobody else did.
yeah.
And
They were trying to do
you
the best,
don't
and yeah,
know.
they've taken Annabelle on tour, haven't they? Oh,
Well,
God.
yeah, there's that as well.
Yeah,
But
good luck with that.
well, no, I do believe in haunted objects. You know, I've spent a lot of time at place where they've got a lot of objects which hold
Oh yeah.
energy, and
Well, I'd
yeah,
love to hear some more actually.
about 7
Making me curious.
years. And I've
Okay, well,
actually
maybe I can ask you some
purchased.
questions at this point.
Oh well, no, we'll
Okay,
do
kind
that
of
another
you.
time. We could do that another time because
Okay.
I've purchased 3 items, and I've brought them into my house.
Yeah,
And I've had experiences with 2 of them. Another one
right.
I've been drawn to, and
Yeah,
it it doesn't look the sort of thing what should be in your house.
right.
But hey, it is in mine. It is now, and I
There are
think
ways
it's
we
going to
can
go
you can
down well on Boxing Day when it's seen. But
there's
what can I
ways you can
say?
take the energy out of these things as well, kind of diffuse it in some way or form. I don't know how to do it myself though, but I've seen
I've
people do it.
It's fine. It's fine. I've got quite a few items.
Yeah,
And you know, I sometimes take them out and to see other people do psychometry with them, just to see if
yeah.
they're
I've done
getting the
that before.
same.
It's
You have?
amazing. Yeah, I've
It
successfully
is.
done it.
It's
Yeah, I did a
brilliant,
test a
isn't
few
it?
years ago. So I'll tell the end of my story in a minute, but remind me in case I forget anyway, because I always go on a tangent. But I was practicing. I went to a circle for the first time actually, and tried. Couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't get hold of this thing that was so powerful in me. I couldn't hone it and make it do what I want. So I was getting really frustrated, and I gave one last try. It was psychometry, and the group that was with me were really sweet, and they trusted me though, but they kind of saw me as the kid that was behind a bit because I wasn't really embracing what I had though. But they saw me as being not real at
Oh,
first. Little did they know. Yeah,
yeah,
like they gave each of us like a little object in an envelope and put
yeah,
padding around it as well, though, so it's hard to kind of feel your way around what the object is. And each of the items was from one of us in the room. So of course, then they made sure that they didn't give me the one that I gave out anyway.
yeah.
But there was, yeah, the item that was given to me. I felt like I really wanted to. Like, I put all of my energy into trying to feel this thing. And it wasn't working at first. I felt like I was giving myself a headache, and I was just straining too much.
Mm,
Don't want to give myself a hernia or anything, but I managed to get there just enough where, okay, well, this isn't working. Okay, well, let's take a step back, calm down, breathe. And that's where it came to me, where I was holding the item and I felt like it got quite warm in my hands. It began to heat up rapidly,
oh, wonderful.
and I actually went blind in my left eye. And I've never experienced that before. It's like I saw like a white glob grow, and I couldn't see, and I could see like around the outer edges of it, but in the center it was like a big circle was right over my eye and
Oh,
blurred. I thought, oh
wow.
God, I began to panic, and I thought, no, okay, just calm, just
Yeah,
trust it. I instinctively knew to calm myself despite how ridiculous the situation was. And I saw a picture in my mind of a lady. She was sat in this like a sunroom, I'll describe it as, and in one of those kind of wicker rocking chairs,
yeah,
the kind of thing you get on, like back in like the old day. Like my nan had one of those actually. Like I think it's wicker, isn't it? But it's like that weaved wooden
yeah,
material thing. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
think it's called that. But yeah, like she's this, and she was with a cup of tea, like just appreciating like the place that she was in, and like her cat that was next to her. It's a really peaceful moment. And the lady's name like came in my head, like I had like a name. I don't want to say the name here because it's just protect
Yeah,
their
no,
privacy.
that's
Because
fine.
yeah, because
Yeah.
obviously it's a personal person as well. Anyway, I just knew the name. I saw the face. I could see all the details of this lady's face, and it's like an ailment. I said to the man opposite, I knew exactly who to speak to, and I sat right ahead of him. Um, and I said, "Okay, I think this is for you." I said the lady's name. And I said to her, "Did she have sight issues, like maybe cataracts?" And I described the place that she was in that I saw, and the places that she loved, and it was her. So you confirm the
Beautiful.
name, her favorite place. She used to watch specifically like this area of her house. She used to watch a specific part of the garden, which I detailed, and the kind of cat that was next to her as well. Obviously, the name. Yeah, she had cataracts, and she lost her vision before it developed. Cataracts developed into something else, and she went blind.
Oh,
And
bless
as I
her.
was talking to him, like the blindness in my eye, it returned back to normal,
Yeah.
and it really spooked him because, like, I think that's the first time he had that validated from somebody who supposedly at the time was perceived as not being a
Oh,
medium of
that's
sorts.
beautiful. Yeah.
But the amazing thing is that same. I think me and him had a really good connection actually because he did a psychometry thing on me the next week where rather than using an object, we did like body reading.
Yeah.
He scanned my body like this, and it was a bit weird having a a bloke just going all over your
Yeah.
legs. He focused on my legs, and thinking, okay, don't do anything silly. But anyway, he went like that. Basically, he jumped back and he went, oh god, and he did it again, and he jumped back again. It's like he's being forced back, and he said, I'm really sorry, but every time something happens, something keeps coming at me like really fast, like an object. And
Wow.
he did it again. He kept being pushed back. It's like a big bang, bang, bang. And he just got really freaked out. And he says, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to stop now. And I said to him, what did it look like? And he says, it looked like a machine. A machine keeps coming at me. And I described to him, like, I said, basically, yeah, that's where my legs were broken. That was the first point of
Oh,
impact when I was hit by a car when I was a kid. This
oh my
bloke
gosh.
didn't know anything about me. I think we knew each other for a couple of weeks anyway, but I didn't
Yeah,
reveal to him
that's
my
it.
story because it's a bit awkward at first. You don't exactly
Oh,
say, yeah, hi, my name's Kieran. By the way, I got hit by a car. To
yeah.
not the kind of thing you do. You'd at least leave it, give it a few sessions. But no, it's amazing like how psychometry works. So we're able to
Yeah,
transfer data. It's either directly from us, or we're able to connect to that tapestry that's around us. It's
that's
almost
right.
like
It's fascinating.
you probably know about the Akashic record. So I wonder if we connect to that beyond where, like, infinite number of stored memories are there from our different
Wow.
lives. We're able to access it during psychometry. Maybe it's just a theory, but either way, I proved that I could do it myself. He could do it then, but I'm just, I still saw myself then as just an everyday dude. Like, if I can do that, then anybody can do that. And how
Yeah.
could I do that? I'm not.
Yeah, we
I'm not.
have lessons and we sort of do psychometry. So
Oh yes,
I've been doing lessons now for about 10 years. But my
yeah,
mediumship's appalling at the moment. I don't know what's going on, but it's
yeah.
just one of those. But I've lessons with Barry John and one's tomorrow
Oh well.
night, so I'm looking forward to that again.
Oh,
Andy's got a question. Now, Andy
yeah.
has come out with some amazing information for me before, and he's got my mum through as well. So he says,
Okay,
when you mentioned the lady, he instantly got a lady's first name. It would be nice
go
to know
for
if
it.
it's the same. So do you want Andy to type it and then confirm?
Type it.
Or,
Yes.
yeah, if you want to do that, then Andy, just type it in and
Yeah,
confirm.
go for it.
Mason, sorry, we're just kind of so Mason as well. Has the evil spirit followed you to where you live now?
Well, no, luckily, because thank you actually for asking that, because that reminds me to tell the end of my story, which is the reason why I'm here anyway. um,
Yeah.
so basically, at the end of my time at this property, keep in mind this thing kept seeing it there. Not quite the name, but it's a
Nearly.
name. That's a name redolent of the era, though. I'm kind of curious to see if anyone kind of guesses it now. Anyway, but yeah, thank you for trying, Andy. Appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, so towards the end of the time, my property, it escalated. So like I mentioned, like there was a time when I came back from school after a really hard day, and I felt like gravity in front of my bedroom like dropped. Like whenever these big events happen, it feels like I'm being sucked into the ground. It was like the
Interesting.
middle of the day, but I opened my door. I was kind of hesitant to, admittedly, but I opened my door, and no word of a light. It looked like night. And I could actually see that
Oh,
the windows were kind of drawn. The curtains were drawn. I could see through the windows, and I could see it was nighttime, but it was daytime. And it was like the light was sucked out of the room itself,
oh
and I could see
God.
the room itself was like warping into
Oh
this particular
no.
corner. Actually, I drew it in this book somewhere. Where is it?
Oh wow, bless you.
Where is it? Bear with me.
It's all right.
Oh, come on. I'm supposed to know this. I wrote the thing. There we go.
No,
I don't know
it's
if you can see
hard.
it. Yeah, this I actually drew some of the events to the best of my
Oh
ability
my
anyway.
gosh.
So I actually saw the room itself warping into the corner. It's this kind of storage cupboard, and that's where I freaked out naturally. I ran. I mean, I literally ran down the stairs, out the front door, and down the street. I couldn't stop running because it was like meeting a predator. It's like something was there that was so strong. It was
Gosh.
like I was in danger at that point. So that's when I told my mum, like, okay, I need to tell you everything that's been happening. I know you've witnessed some of these things, but it's too much now. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh,
So
bless you. What age was that?
amazing. Oh God, I think I was
Ish.
about 17, 18. No, excuse me. It's roughly when I was about 19. It was like the last years of my teenage years was when I was able to be free
Oh
from this
my
thing.
gosh,
It's
so
like,
you lived with it for like 14 years then?
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I would, yeah,
Oh God.
I did learn a lot from it, but I never had that childhood that I deserved after the accident. Like, it's because it affected the way that it affected my emotions. I
Oh,
couldn't
bless
trust anyone.
you.
I felt anxious all the time, and that's not just simply PTSD or complex PTSD that comes with that from like a long-term exposure. It was something more than that, more than just PTSD. It was, yeah, it sucked, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, quite frankly. But
Oh,
anyway,
bless
I'm
you.
alive and here to tell the day, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, luckily, a friend of my mum's, she didn't know much about what she does, but she turned out to be a medium, and that's the first medium that I met. And
Oh,
she met me
brilliant.
for the first time, and it's like Penny's like a machine. She'll scan you. She won't tell you. She'll just scan you. She receives information. She's like a Terminator. Sorry, Penny. But she's like that. So at the time, I thought, what's going on? I felt like something was happening at that point. Like, you've been spotted now. Like, you can't escape. And she approached me and said, "Look, I know, I'm a friend of your mum's, and you don't know me very well, but my name's such and such, and so I need to tell you something. Is I know something that's happening with you, and has been happening with you for a long time. Like, if it's okay with your permission, can I help you?" And at that point, I was at my last, tether. Really, like, I thought, well, how much worse could it get? Really, like, I'll give it a go. So what? And she says that something's been happening in your bedroom. Can I have a chat with you? So she followed me upstairs, and I know it sounds weird, like a random woman following me upstairs into my bedroom, but she was obviously good intentioned, and she began to talk to me about the things I've been experiencing, like
Wow.
in my out of body experience that I hadn't fully explained to my mum yet. I had it inside for so long that I couldn't tell anyone about it because where do you begin? So this lady who had never spoke to me about before, who no one else knows about, told me secrets about myself that I've never told anybody, not even my mum.
Oh
So there are
my
parts of my
gosh.
experience where, like, quite frankly, I didn't want to be here anymore. I wanted an end to
Yeah.
the pain of returning, because when you return back to your body again, sometimes it feels like if you ever like put a sock back on again, it doesn't quite fully fit. It's like when you put your
Okay.
body back on again, you don't feel right. You don't feel like alive nor dead. You feel like that in between. But anyway, like that aside, she told me about the man I've been seeing, and I'd mentioned it to my mum, but I'd never described to her what it was or how
Yeah.
what it looked like and everything. So yeah, she told me all sorts of things about me that were a secret soul to me, and at that point I started shaking. Like, it's like the negative energy was being sucked out of me. Really, like I physically couldn't stop shaking, which I couldn't understand. She said, "It's okay. Like, there's years of trauma in you. Basically, there's years of this thing. You're just letting it out. So just trust it. You're okay. You're safe now." And the interesting thing is, like, she went straight to the corner of my room. You know where I showed that picture where it focuses on that corner.
Yeah.
She says it's there. She says that's where it comes in. This is where it's made a space in your room.
Like a
You can come in
portal.
and like a portal, yeah, and
Yeah.
it can come into your room in and out at will, and frighten you, frighten your family, and quite simply, it loves the pain that you go through. It loves the sadness. It loves the confusion. It loves the fact that your parents divorced. It loves the
Oh
fact
my
that you suffer
gosh.
from PTSD. It loves the fact that you're bullied all the time because it likes to incite it. It likes to encourage it.
Hence
She,
those teachers and everything.
Yeah, teachers. I mean, the teachers weren't bad, honestly. Yeah, actually they weren't great
It
teachers apart from a
it
couple,
caused it
but
in a
they
way.
weren't that bad anyway. Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
influence that in that way or form. Yeah, so she said, "Look, okay, I'm going to deal with this now. Like, let me deal with it."
Wow.
And this is the point where it's all secondhand. So I didn't experience this firsthand. So I rely on my mum and Penny obviously telling me what happened. So she asked
Yeah.
me to leave. I said, "Look, I'm going to face off with this thing. Like, you go and do your thing. Come back."
Mm.
So yeah, I kind of went for a walk for a couple of hours, and when I came back, I heard what happened. I felt immediately that everything shifted. It felt like everything was light and shiny again because
Bless
she'd
you.
faced off with this horrible thing, and it it hissed and spat and insulted her and jumped from one side of the room to the other, like objects moving. And it was like, for the first time in its existence, whatever it was
It got
frightened. It had actually
challenged.
experienced the fear on its own end rather than absorbing the fear from others. And didn't know what to do with it. So like Penny's like immensely powerful medium. Like she's unlike anyone that I've met
That's
before. Quite
incredible.
frankly, like if that's the best example of a medium, like even comparing them to Blooming Lorraine Warren, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put her up against that. I mean, yeah. But anyway, yeah, she fought this thing and sent it on its way, which it sounds easier said than done. For her, it's a lot of hard work, and she did that because she wanted to help. Doesn't do it for money, doesn't do it for fame, nothing. Just saw a kid that was
Incredible.
lost. So yeah, for the first time, I actually felt like this suit had been taken off me, this weight.
Oh my gosh.
And I began to feel normal emotions again. Like, yeah, I still felt a bit depressed and a bit sad, but it very rapidly, removed itself from me. So I started to spend more time with my friends. I started to,
Live.
live. Yeah, just
Live.
dance
Wow.
on the daisies, so to speak. And
Oh my
yeah,
God.
like she's just an amazing person. I do her a lot, and that's where I began to go, okay, well, I need to embrace this paranormal journey and start understanding it more and educate other people that you don't have to live with these horrible things. So, and this thing I was holding during that time, that a-hole entity was there doing its business. So yeah, like I forgot what I was going to say now. So yeah, as part of that, basically, I did ask her a little while after, okay, well, one last thing. You described that you encountered this entity. You described its behavior. Can you show me what it looks like? And she sent me like a rough doodle though, but she's not the great drawer though. So she looked Google up and just pulled out a load of images that closely describe the texture and the shape and this thing. I put all the images together and I almost crap myself basically. Like there it was.
Wow.
The dark man with the skin, the fingers, the glowing eyes. Like she saw it. So only I know of what it looks like, and she does.
So
no one else knew.
did you bring it through as a 5-year-old when you travelled there? So when you left your body as a 5-year-old, did it kind of see you and think, oh yes, this is interesting, and sort of
I think people have described it in my interviews as a backpacker. Really, it's like I'm just going to jump in there and go on a journey because I think I just found a way to escape and cause chaos. But I don't think the entity that I met out there in the beyond was evil, but I perceived it as frightening because it was above my frequency. Like it was from a higher dimension. It was a highly evolved being. So it's like if you encountered the vastness of a whale as a human, it's scary. It's intimidating. It's a similar way as that. Almost kind of sounds Lovecraftian as well. If you love those kind of books, that's kind of feeling it feels like.
Wow.
But this, excuse me, this thing, I think, as I came back, I think I drew the attention of something that was maybe in the hospital. So I became a light switched on, and it began to draw itself to me, and then followed me back. So so it's not with me today, and I'm strong enough now to know that I'm stronger than it. So I hope to not see it again, and. Yeah, but also I make sure that I keep away from these things as well to protect my kids and
that's
protect my friends, people that I love, really, just to make sure they don't experience these kind of things again, because they can say to me, "Oh, I don't believe in these kind of things. I didn't see it." In a way, I'm there's a reason why sometimes there are things that I keep from me that I don't want you to see. I feel like it's my duty just to I don't believe in gate holding for a number of things though, but there are some things that I'd rather keep out and keep away,
totally
just let people live their lives. So. So like I say,
because people don't know what they're doing with paranormal. They go out and they do things, to do rituals, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. And ultimately,
you have to be careful.
I sort of dabble with things, and like my friend's trance, things like that, and I try to work with energy a lot. And ultimately, we don't know what's happening around us, and it intrigues me so much.
You have to be
It does,
careful,
but
protect yourself with intention. So what I say is for advice, like if you go in there like in a bad mood, if you've had a bad day, miss it. Take that night off. Go back if you're feeling a bit happier or at the very least neutral. Then that's your protector. If you go in there negative, it's going to attract the negative. It's like in reality, if you walk about in a grump, you're most likely going to bump into another grumpy person who's going to make you even more grumpy and so on. It's about raising a vibration. So like when I went to Oxford Castle the other day, like I didn't have any prayers to protect me or equipment. I simply went in there in a good mood. I had a good few laughs before I came in, because that's what I do. I do like making fun of things.
Yeah.
Went in there with my friend, had a good laugh, and then we walked in there with good vibrations, and we just took in a number of different events, observed some interesting paranormal phenomena, and came out
Yeah.
all safe and happy. So I
That's
think it's all about
great.
your intention, really. Your intention is the best suit of armor you can wear. And
Yeah.
that's just not simply advice for the paranormal. Like I say, it's advice for anything in life, really. Like if you go into a situation peed off, you're only going to get bad. To try and see beyond it, and try and see, it's okay to feel angry, of course there's nothing wrong with that, but allow yourself the right moments to be in that state and use it in the right way. That's the idea.
We do try and go in good intent, but we don't always get good stuff come through, if you know what I mean. But it is incredible.
Sorry, what is your ultimate form of paranormal evidence? So, like, what's your number one thing that you could say? Okay, if I'm going to speak to somebody,
I think that
for the first time, what have you seen?
Like, I can't. I won't let my video evidence go out, because people will just say, "Oh, well, that happened." You know what I mean? Like, a lot of it's
going to anyway.
It's only like personal stuff. Like, I don't know. There's a gentleman. I don't know. Like, me and him will investigate. All of a sudden, in my head, it clicks game on. He gets sort of strange expression in his face. I think game on, and we challenge each other. And I feel like there's something behind me and something behind him. And this bloke actually saw us doing this. And he thought, oh, that's rubbish, it's fake. But then he saw this light or something between us. And he actually saw something else. And I don't know what it is. And this is ongoing whenever we meet. And I can get him to go into trance just like that. I know how to get him to trance.
Or maybe your batteries for each other.
I don't know what's going on. We think it's a past life. I don't know what's going on. We're working it out, but it's intriguing. And I haven't got any proper evidence. I don't put content out, because the stuff I do get is so crazy I can't even mention it. Because I'm not bothered. I experience things with like-minded people. They know it happened. I know it happened. I'm not going to go out there and go, oh, you got to believe this. No. Like back in the day, I used to say to my friend who's total skeptic, I says, well, we did this. You got to go with this on this one, but this is what I believe. And at the end, he said, yeah, I believe what you believe, but I don't believe in it. Well, what's he saying there? And, here I have this story, and it's like, well, he believes that I think that happened, but it's still, and it's, it's just what it is, isn't it? But I just do love it. I do public events, and I do like taking people through different communication techniques. And if the skeptics go, it's great when they experience something sort of more physically what they can't explain.
And, but you're offering people opportunities to learn. You're not. You seem to, at least, I mean, it's a good way anyway. Well, a good thing that you don't seem to treat it like you're an evangelist. You're trying to sell somebody something.
No.
You're offering people an opportunity to be an observer and make their own decision. That's what's key to all this. Because
it's up to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I don't mean to sound horrible. I don't care whether people believe in what I believe in or not. And it's, I don't mean to sound horrible though, because I completely understand it. Like, if you don't believe in what I've just said tonight, that's okay. You haven't lived it. I completely get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you go as far as telling me that everything that I say is invalid because it doesn't align with your reality, then that often is an indicator of what you're going through and how you're struggling with comprehending new comparables, really. So I can present things to you, and I want you to just go, okay, like, I'll decide what to do with that information. Like, because I do believe information should be afforded to everybody, really. And that's what I believe like Oxford's supposed to be in itself, because Oxford's seen as being a very kind of a city of education in the dreaming spires, because we have Oxford University and the various colleges. It's the home of knowledge, mathematics, literature. Think about kind of Alice in Wonderland and Lord of the Rings was written here. You can go and sit in J.R.R. Tolkien's seats as well, where he wrote some of the books, so The Hobbits and Lord of the Rings. And this place is amazing, but at the same time, it's I do believe it's kind of gate-holded behind money, pay money to access information and knowledge. But I do believe Oxford was really it was originally built to be a passing of knowledge, a place of education and growth. So I do believe that should be afforded to everybody. So when we share these experiences, we're just passing on our knowledge, our lived experiences, because a lot of the books that we read are experiences, are lenses in which others have interpreted the world and certain events and passed on their knowledge and their learnings and the observables. It shouldn't be kept behind a paywall, I believe, but I do.
No.
It's more complicated than that when it comes to universities. I get that, but ultimately the principle of it, it should be the city of learning, and the world should be our planet of learning. We should be sharing experiences, not telling each other what we should or shouldn't believe, or our experiences are invalid because they don't align with another person's narrative. And often the narrative told by other people are influenced by other people's narratives. We keep passing on narratives which form like a mold where we can't grow beyond. And so like I said, I operate with no mold now. I just simply go out there. I try to be in some way like Louis Theroux, like the Louis Theroux or the paranormal. Really, like I'm just here asking questions. What's going on? Like at least with some podcast channels as well. Like a lot of them haven't walked the walk, so to speak. Like it's great they have a fascination with the paranormal, but they haven't had an empirical event yet. So they could fully understand the true context of because I've lived it. I've been scared by it. I've overcome it. I feel like I fully understand what these people are going through. Like whether they've spoke to entities from other solar systems, whether they channeled certain spirits, or ghosts, and various different things. Like I realize now, like these people are so genuine in their beliefs, and I can't judge what's right and what's wrong. But I'm there just gathering my data set and improving upon things, and hopefully set an example there. So I'm hoping that one day, my old book or my podcast. So I don't like talking about books as if I'm selling you something. It's not like that.
No, we're going to have to go now because we've run out of time. But
that's fine. Yeah,
please show your book. Come on, put it there. Let everybody see it.
I wrote a book and it's amazing because I can't read. So there you go.
I'm going to write the information. I'm going to write and do a post on it as well. I'll see if I can get sort of clips from the show as well. But it's just a fascinating story. And sorry we couldn't get to questions, but we have run out of time. It's just
feel free
so
if you want to send questions after, comment under the video, like wherever you post this. Like I'll do my best to answer it for you.
Bless you,
pardon the pun, I'm an open book, but
bless you.
Trying to just
but I really want to thank you for this. It's just been absolutely amazing, and oh my gosh, you are an incredible person. To actually get through this, it's I think this is. I've heard some stories, but this, it's just.
It's out there.
The amount of courage as well. To get through with your injuries. Like I've had a dodgy leg from 10, and you're always like, "Oh, I struggle to do that, struggle to do that." But you've been totally broken in more ways than one, haven't you?
Well, I'm literally. I've joked before. I'm Frankenstein's monster because I've had parts of me my ears had to be reattached. There's like a funny crease in here. Like I've had bits and pieces yeah. But anyway, like I said, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to walk. I'm glad to be alive.
But thank you so much. And obviously, like in future, it's teaching, isn't it? And just telling people. And I do encounter people with problems in their houses. I do try and go and help them. And nobody should be like that scared, should they? But
maybe me and you can team up one day and help somebody. So I don't usually do readings though, but I do every now and again. I'll jump in and sort of help out if I can clear a spirit or something bad. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Love you all.
But thank you so much, and thanks for everyone's comments. But take care, everybody, and thank you, and stay safe. Okay,
right, goodbye, my duck.